Hello and welcome. Well, very warm welcome to all you guys on MindShift. It is said that human potential is limitless. All it needs is a little direction. And that is why I bring to you on MindShift special guests across science, spirituality, and business to help you invest in self mastery. Today, I'm back with one more episode that'll help you invest in your personal and professional development. Today's guest is truly a special one. He's somebody who's had his fair share of experience working with multinational organizations and being an entrepreneur. In his career, spanning more than 17 years, he has juggled various roles, managing multicultural teams, devising test market strategies for software and hardware technology products, and leading his own entrepreneurial venture, providing concierge and corporate services, which later went on to get acquired by a huge name called Super Saver. In 2018, his passion for people, projects, and processes led him to being a co founder at LinkedIn Local India. So, all you job aspirants, all you guys who are wanting to take your career to the next level, today's session is going to be a really important one for you. So, hold on to your seats and be ready to take off with me.
We are organizing career transitions by LinkedIn Local, powered by Super Seva.
People who want to change their verticals or people who want to reskill or upskill themselves.
We're getting all the people together to help them understand how career transition can happen.
A lot of things are there which has recently come up, and career transition becomes extremely important and extremely critical to discuss about.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, join me in welcoming the head of growth at LinkedIn Local India, Vivek Chadha. Hello and welcome, Vivek.
Hello, Avneet. How are you? Good evening. Thank you very much. That was quite an introduction, and probably I'm going to take a snippet out of it and use it to introduce myself at different places.
Absolutely. I put in a lot of hard work with this little thing that I've started from home during COVID-19. I try to do my best job operating with a tiny team and trying to bring the people who are true change makers and catalysts of helping people move forward in their life to give them that little platform that I can give in the best of my capacity. So, firstly, Vivek, thank you so much for making this
Absolutely.
happen. I'm so excited.
Absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure, my honor. And you're doing a great job at MindShift. It is about enhancing life and business. I started the venture which was called EYL, which stands for Enhance Your Life. And so I'm so excited to be on something that enhances people's lives. And I'm totally honored to be on the same platform as Hansa Yogendra ji. And truly an honor, and really happy to be here and conversing with you.
Well, she's been my mentor for over 6 years now, who propelled me forward on the path of yoga to become a yoga practitioner, a yoga teacher, a yoga philosophist, and somebody who's made yoga a way of life. So, a lot of respect for her. And Vivek, I'm so curious to know, you've been in the corporate scene, you've had your own, startup, you've gotten acquired, you've built a business to the point of, it getting acquired. And today you are involved with this nonprofit community along with your consulting, where y'all at LinkedIn Local India take online connections offline. So I think it's such an amazing thought. How did you get started on this path and walk us through your journey?
Okay, so LinkedIn Local, was is a very special initiative. It started sometime in 2017, in the mid of 2017, somewhere in Australia,
Mm-hmm,
and there was a lady called Anna that initiated an idea of a coffee meeting,
mm-hmm,
and it was sort of not something which she expected to go forward, but she did something, and she called 20 people for a meeting. People came, and it became a hashtag.
mm-hmm,
Still, things were going slow. uh, Around 2017 November, one of my co-founders, she picked up the idea, and she put it on LinkedIn, and it
mm-hmm,
was nothing in India. Nobody knew about it. It was not going forward the way it is now. I picked up that post, and I sort of was taken aback by what is this, and I realized that it is something that has a lot of huge potential. It is a very, very simple concept, but if
mm-hmm,
we can turn it into a lot of opportunities for a lot of people, and we really can help the community grow. So I
mm-hmm,
got in touch with my co-founder. I spoke to her. We discussed a lot of ideas, and December 2018, we formulated a plan to what we want to do. December 26th, we met, I remember,
mm-hmm,
and January 2018, we sort of decided to launch the event. 1st of January, we started the promotions of the event. After the promotions, my LinkedIn went bonkers.
mm-hmm,
Things People were very interested what we are doing. So we chose a theme of personal branding and personal development, which was very hot during that time, and we had gotten two speakers from India, one from Hong Kong, and the event went extremely well. We got a lot of rave reviews. Uh, I think the success of the event was because of the authenticity that came in from the panelists, from the audience, and it was as if the 60 people sitting in that room actually knew each other before the event. And that gave us a lot of motivation to basically continue this and morph this into a much more meaningful activity, for our fellow people on LinkedIn. And then we went on to scale this to more than 10 cities. We did a lot of interventions across personal branding. We did CEO talks, career transition, diversity and inclusion, innovation in startups. So it has been a crazy, crazy journey, and a very, very fulfilling one. I've really learned a lot during this time. Interacted with a lot of people from different faculties, and really had fun doing it. So we started off as a concept wherein we'll get people offline from LinkedIn. Anybody could join us uh, until COVID happened. And so when COVID and the lockdown struck, we thought that we could not do these events now. But then we pivoted to the thought that nobody could really stop us from getting people together into a virtual room, and they could meet each other, or at least listen, people uh, from different faculties, different experts, and at least they can be an exchange of ideas. So everything that was happening in a room physically now is happening virtually. And the number of online events we have done is more than we have done in the last 2.5 years of physical events. So it has been crazy. A lot of credit goes to my co-founder. We have been fanatically planning, and executing the strategies that we are moving forward with, and a lot of people have come forward and participated and gave us ideas, and given us the motivation and the push that whatever we are doing is making sense for them. and we have created this beautiful community that is engaging a lot, both from the panel side, the audience side, people from different faculties, different areas, and it has really opened up my mind to what we can do. So yeah, pretty excited to be at this stage.
Vivek, I think it's amazing that, a not for profit initiative, and that too under the mother brand of LinkedIn, and the mere thought that, taking online connections offline, it's amazing for a brand to even think about that, for LinkedIn to permit something like that to happen, because there's no other social media platform that does this. And very often we meet so many people, or at least we send requests and invitations, and we connect with people online, but beyond a point, that human interface, that human conversation does not happen. And in a time and age where all people read is your caption, what are your thoughts on how can we build authentic, long lasting relationships online and offline?
I think the true sense of creating an online or an offline connection is to first be yourself, you
Hmm.
know, be your authentic self. Because if you are trying to be somebody else, then the relationship is not sustainable. Physically or meeting virtually is just a medium. It
Hmm.
is the connection that counts. I have so many connections that I've created in the last 5 months, where I have not really met them in person, but I could really click with them. I could really connect with them on different levels of thoughts, and that is the meaning of a true connection. You have to be authentically yourself. You cannot become somebody. And
Hmm.
while it is important to not be casual, while you're talking to people and you're building a relationship, the relationship is a two-way street. Usually
Hmm.
what I've seen is that people get in touch with people only when you need something,
Hmm.
and that is a very transactional way of thinking. uh, if you see people, you should see what is it that you can give it to them. How can you help them? What is that you can give it to them more than they can give it to you? When you have that line of thought, automatically the relationship grows very interestingly, because the other person also wants to help you. Human beings
Hmm.
have the basic nature of being helpful, but
Hmm.
we also have the biology to protect ourselves if somebody is trying to take something away from us. If somebody calls me and asks me a question, then my biology kicks in and I'm not ready to give him the answers. But to build a
And you're
long-term
fearful of judgment,
relationship,
basically.
I have to really think. Pardon me?
As human beings, biology kicks in and we are fearful of judgment when you're interacting with new people. So I think drawing that fair balance between getting judged and giving and getting your work done. How do you personally integrate this, Vivek? How did you get started? Because I have so many of these college students, people who are in career transition, who are watching. So how and what do these guys need to do so that they are confident, they can overcome that fear of judgment, and they can go out there and build these professional connections?
Especially for the college students, I think today there are a lot more opportunities. There are a lot more platforms, and the society in general is very much open to the idea of networking and people reaching out to each other. 15 years
Hmm.
back, there was no LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and there was very little networking. So you really
Hmm.
had to find out phone numbers and emails of people and really get in touch with them like one to one. And you could not access people and find out about them. Today, on a
Hmm.
click of a button, I can write to a CEO. He may not reply
Hmm.
to me, but I
Hmm.
could access his inbox. I could write to him.
Hmm.
For the college students, my advice to them is, whatever you are doing, be very, very good at it. That is number one. You know, no amount of networking can help you if the core product, that is you, your knowledge, uh, that has to shine, wherever you
Hmm.
go.
Hmm.
That is number one. In terms of reaching out to people, there are various platforms. LinkedIn, I think, is the number one professional platform that really helps you, reach out to people. Uh, Most of the working humanity is on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn in India has about more than 60 million users, which is
Hmm.
humongous. And if everybody is on LinkedIn, then you need to really understand how this platform works, what is good, what is not good, and how are you supposed to navigate, how are you supposed to grow your connections in a meaningful way. So
Hmm.
it is not really about, getting a lot of invites, getting a lot of likes, and getting a lot of just engagement. These
Hmm.
social media metrics are important in some sense, but
Hmm.
if your overall strategy is to look at your own career, then you have to look for a long-term strategy. You have to think long-term. When we connect with somebody, we think there and then. Again, the biology kicks in.
Hmm.
What this person can give me? What is the
Hmm.
benefit I can get from him? We never think naturally that how can I help this person. What do I have the strength? What is it that I have learned that I can share with this person. So that is, I think, very, very important. There are a few points that are very important, especially when we are networking. This is important for people who are in college, but this is also very, very important once you graduate into college, out from college, and you are in the corporate world. So, think of your customer, think of the person that you are trying to get in touch with. Think of the professional that you want to reach out. Now, it can be because you are trying to reach out a corporate person, you are trying to reach out a customer, you're trying to reach out for an alliance, anybody. There is a kind
Hmm.
of sale that you want to do. You want to pitch an idea to somebody, you want to pitch for a job. It can be anything. The most important thing I have learned in the last 15 odd years is empathy. Empathy means that you need to really understand, think, and sit and think and understand that what is the frame of mind of the other person, who that other person is, what he may be going through, what is his line of thought, how does he think, what does he, believe in. So when you think about that, and you put yourself into his shoes or her shoes, you will realize that you will become a lot more sensitive when you're reaching somebody. You'll become a lot more strategic into reaching somebody. So I'll give some examples here. uh, when I think about a person I'm approaching, what is the attention span of the person? That is the most important. Now, the person I'm reaching to is a corporate CEO. The
Hmm.
CEO does not have time. He has interventions across, the day. People are trying to reach out to him within the company and also externally. My understanding is that an average person's, the attention span for a stranger is 3 seconds, just 3 seconds. So when you are reaching out to somebody, if you have something good in those 3 seconds, you will get the attention. Otherwise, you lose that opportunity. Now, uh, you can convert those 3 seconds into 3 hours. How do you do that? How do you do something where you're pitching something to somebody, but those 3 seconds convert to 3 hours? You
Hmm.
have to understand what is the person interested in. Uh, what are the topics that person is interested in. um, uh, he will be only curious only if I offer him something new and interesting, generally interesting or generally new, which he has not heard anywhere before.
Hmm.
He is interested in interesting people. When
Hmm.
I'm writing to him, do I sound interesting, or does my approach sound the old rote, boring?
Hmm.
So I have to distinguish myself.
Hmm.
um, he will listen to me if I mention somebody he knows, so he listened to me because of the people he knows. So what I'm trying to put is, if I go through a referral, if I go through his
Hmm.
friend, if I go through his acquaintance, then I have his attention. He will listen to me only if I can offer something that he can learn from. So when I reach out to him on LinkedIn, obviously he can see my entire history of the work that I have done, of the professional engagements that I'm doing. If he feels that he or she can learn something from me, only then he's going to listen to me. And also, he wants to listen to people who he thinks are smart and intellectual. So when you're reaching out to somebody, uh, you know uh, you can be your authentic self, which can be very, very casual, but that approach will not take you very far. So so the important part is that you need to be professional, but you need to be authentic, and you need to keep these things in mind, um, because the other person's time is important. And to build a relationship, you need to go and sit in his chair and think that if I was sitting there and somebody was approaching me, would I really listen to that person? And then I think experience you know teaches you a lot of things. You keep trying. Do not think that an X person will respond to me or not, or he's so experienced, or he's a big celebrity, or he's a CEO. uh, one very important thing that plays in our mindset is, log kya kahenge.
Hmm.
Log kya kahenge has actually killed a lot of ideas, a lot of
In the
dreams,
bud.
and a lot of initiatives. People do not get out of their beds because they think log kya kahenge. So
Hmm.
online, I've seen the same thing. You want to create an identity. You want to create an identity of something that you are involved with. You are reaching out to somebody. Before sending a message to somebody, a simple message about something, we think about 10 times of what that person will think. What should I write? So I think if you think you are respectful, if you think your message makes sense, and everything is in order, just send the message. The worst that will happen is that the person will not respond. uh, and once there will be a few people respond, some will click with you with your line of thought, and there is a lot of opportunity for growth there, for you and for that person. And I think then the ideas can just come in from anywhere, and you can take on that networking
Conversation.
relationship. Absolutely.
Hmm. Vivek, I want to take like a quick 2-3 seconds to take you off the stream, hoping that your camera gets a little better. I'm not sure, maybe in
Sure.
so Vivek is in Bangalore, and maybe with all the rains there, the internet is a little shaky. So I'm just going to try and pull you out of the stream and bring you back in, yeah? Let's cross our fingers because I'm recording this and I want the footage to look good so that in post, at least, when people restream this and watch this later, at least they are able to see Vivek's pretty face and, you know, have a good viewing experience. But I guess nature's call to allow us to do this. But I'm also wondering that, guys, you guys have been listening to us talking, giving away insights, giving away tips, giving away the ideology behind approaching networking on LinkedIn. I'm just wondering, how come you guys do not have questions? Because whatever your questions might be, maybe you tried something, it did not work. Maybe you had a personal experience which was, which left you embarrassed, which left you in your shell, and you're wondering that how do I really get out there and still reach out to people, be visible personally, professionally, and make conversations online. So, whatever your questions might be, now is the time you hit the comments box. I will be having a designated Q&A section at the end of this stream, but nonetheless, I want you to keep interacting with me, keep asking Vivek your questions because both of us are here for you guys, man. So ask your questions, leave your comments, and interact and engage with us. With that, Vivek, I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts? Is uh, Actually, before I get into that, why don't I get you to do a quick LinkedIn audit of my profile? What are the starking things that you see, that the stark mistakes or the stark areas of improvement that you think I can quickly? Let's do a 1 minute audit.
All right, sure.
Be kind, yeah. I'm very new to the platform, so I just started 3 months back. So please be kind, but give me like a quick SWOT.
Certainly. So, do you want me to share my screen with you?
Sure, is that possible?
I think let us try, or you can open the screen and I can share the screen and I can walk through and let's see what you've got there.
I am not sure how the platform does that. Okay, I do actually. Thank you. I'm still getting used to the tech as well. You see, thanks to the virtual time, I have ventured into taking the virtual space very seriously. So I'm learning.
This time has been great for learning a lot of online and virtual tools. We have been forced to do it. A very
Right.
good example is my mother, who has been trying to get on Amazon for the last 3 years. After the lockdown, she took 3 days to get on Amazon, and she told me that I've started shopping. So,
Hmm.
need is the mother of invention.
Was the shopping for you?
No, for herself.
Okay. I am trying to do this. 1 second. Are you able to see my screen?
Oh, yes, I'm able to see your screen. Great.
Superb. Is my desktop
Wonderful.
super messy?
So let's start this audit. Wonderful. On the top, you can see the search bar. Your notifications.
Mm,
Then we see your photograph. Okay, photograph is
mm,
extremely important. You need to have a
mhm,
professional photograph. You already have a professional
mm,
photograph, which is great.
mm,
The right background behind the photograph. If you want, you can change it. Um, the rectangular background with the
mhm,
message that you are trying, to sell or pitch or any mission that you have. So in your case,
mhm.
you're a coach. You have a company. You can use that space, real estate, to put things that you want to
Branding.
communicate to people who are visiting your profile. That is one.
Mm,
Your name is there. You have mentioned you're an impact and communication coach. You're an inspirational speaker, award-winning presenter. You're based out of UAE. Perfect. You're already open to work. You've done pretty much many things here. Providing services, that is clearly mentioned there. Um, okay, let's. You've clearly mentioned you're working for public speaking and so on. Coming down.
Vivek, should we be doing like long about sections, or should it be like short and crisp? Because some of the profiles that I have seen on LinkedIn, they are super elaborate with their entire resume and bio written in the about section. So should this be short and crisp, or how many words do you ideally recommend to have on LinkedIn?
So the about section, I would say, if you are going to put in your resume, nobody is going
Hmm,
to read it.
hmm,
People want to get a sense when people come to your profile.
hmm,
Again, it is the 3 minute pitch.
hmm,
They will look at your photograph. They will look at
hmm,
who you are, and they will look at
hmm,
the about section and your experiences.
hmm,
If overall you are able to impress them, then they will dig deeper. So
hmm,
people actually go and read the about section only if they find your profile interesting or they're really
hmm,
interested to know who you are. Uh,
hmm,
but if the about section is so long that it gets boring,
hmm,
nobody's going to read it. So the first 3 lines, the first
hmm,
line, the first para
hmm.
has to be interesting enough that people come back, and are motivated to go
They want
read
to read
further.
further,
It
basically.
Yeah, it is like a story about yourself. This is an opportunity to tell about yourself in a way that nobody else can.
Hmm.
So you should write a story about yourself and play with
Hmm.
words in terms of make it really interesting.
Hmm.
You are a communications coach. We can see that. We can see your featured posts. We can see your experience. So we get a sense of what you have done
Who I am and what
professionally.
I do. Hmm.
Yes. So in the about section, obviously you need to weave a story.
Hmm.
If you repeat what has already been mentioned, then it becomes repetition and people are not really, uh, you know, going to read it. But if there is a
Hmm.
story, if there are
Hmm.
aspects about a professional and personal self, which makes it interesting to read,
Hmm.
I think that's what this section is about. And so yeah, so the about section, is about you. It's the chance for you to create your story. And
Hmm.
then below that, you could list down your experiences. One very important thing is to be very, very honest in the dates, in the work
Hmm.
that you have done. LinkedIn does not
Hmm.
go and check whether you have done that work or not. So it is very important that whatever you're putting, it is in the public domain. Many people can see it. Everybody can see it. So it is important that you are truthful. The dates are right. Um, Another important aspect of a LinkedIn profile is the interaction. Uh, in the recommendations, it is important for public to see what are people saying about you, or what are your
Hmm.
coworkers saying about you, what are your bosses saying about you, what are your partners saying about you. So it is important that you get the right recommendations. People are usually lazy
Hmm.
in giving recommendations, so nobody's really coming to your profile and giving you recommendations. But choose people carefully in giving you the recommendations. Do not ask them to write that you tell them to write. Just
Hmm.
ask them to write authentically what they think of you.
Hmm.
Also, sometimes I see somebody has more than 100 recommendations. uh,
Hmm.
it makes me believe that the person is only collecting recommendations. So so it is important that even if the recommendations are less,
Hmm.
they're authentic. uh, Recommendations also, if they are authentic, they will give a true sense of the person you are from a different person's eyes.
Hmm.
So if you're going for a job, if you're going
Hmm.
for to pitch to a client, everybody is
Hmm.
going to check your LinkedIn profile. Everybody is going to read the recommendations. And
Hmm.
what we say about ourselves is one thing. What others say about us
Others say
is
about you truly matter.
absolutely another. And once it is recorded on a platform like LinkedIn with a date, published, it adds a lot more authenticity. Me saying that I'm the best is one
Hmm.
thing, and three people on that, platform saying that Vivek is the best adds a
Hmm.
lot more weightage.
Hmm.
So yes, I think if you keep these things in mind, things will grow. Uh, on the
So Vivek,
platform,
I'm
again,
hearing,
very
having just summarizing for people who've just probably logged in and are wondering what you and I are talking about. So Vivek, who you guys have been watching, is the head of growth at LinkedIn Local India, and we just did like a quick 1.5 minute SWOT of my LinkedIn profile where he gave away valuable insights to what you guys can do to really up your LinkedIn game, where the first thing he said is having a lovely picture, using that that area to probably put out your message, to be have a nice high resolution image with probably your message, your brand, whatever it is that you want people to know, and to use that real estate wisely, which is like a visual attractor. He also mentioned that 3 seconds is what you have to hold somebody's attention, so make sure that you use your picture wisely, your caption, which is limited words, maybe 2 sentences, but they give away your story, which is something that I need to work on personally. And along with that, he mentioned that in your about section, having crisp content rather than having your entire resume and bio. So, you kids, some of y'all who are applying for internships and you guys are applying for job placements, I see you put your entire extracurricular, the cricket match you played, the whatever you did in the about section. So, it's about being precise and choosing the right content that goes out there. put up your featured content is one thing he mentioned. Keep authentic dates of whatever your activities you're listing. Have the real dates. Don't try to fudge content, fudge the dates and fudge your credibility, and strategically use and select the people who can endorse you, who can give you, who can basically put in a recommendation. But again, choose a few so that it doesn't look like, you've gone coin collecting for recommendations. So I think these were like five valuable insights, Vivek, that I took away from there. I'm wondering, do you guys have any questions? Anything else that you want to ask him? How to build your LinkedIn profile? What something you tried, you don't know how to do correctly? Throw in your questions. Yeah. So we have a Q&A section coming up, but a quick question, Vivek, is do you think uh, a quick one, yeah? Like pick either. Should
Sure.
networking be strategic or spontaneous?
Okay. So if it is immediate, it has to be spontaneous. You cannot think when you're networking. So networking by definition means that you have to present your authentic self. So if you look at it in a way that you are out at a professional engagement, if you're out at a conference and you have to speak to somebody, then you have to be
Hmm,
spontaneous. You cannot think
hmm,
a lot, before talking to that person. It has to come
hmm.
out
Okay.
naturally. It is who you are. It is who
Hmm,
you are. But if you want to think about networking in the long term, if you want to take the benefit of connecting with people, learning from people, sharing back to the community, then it has to be strategic. You have to be
hmm,
really thinking that are you networking because everybody says that networking is good and networking is your net worth and you have to network.
hmm,
Mindless networking is not good. So strategically you
hmm,
have to think what is your goal. What
hmm,
are you trying to do in your career, in your
hmm,
personal life? Where do you want to reach? So networking is basically about connecting with people authentically who can help you reach your particular goal, who can enrich your life, with different learnings that you can learn from them. But extremely important is that what you can do for those
hmm,
people that you are engaging with. If you do not keep that in mind, the relationship will not go very far. The longest
hmm,
relationships, personally and professionally, that I have had have been where both the parties selflessly have helped the other person, have given to the other person without expecting anything in return. I know, the life has become very transactional. We want to get a job immediately, we want to talk to the person, so it has become very transactional. We just pick up the phone and say, I need this. We just
hmm,
send a message to a stranger, that this is my resume attached, do you have a job for me? uh,
hmm,
but I don't know you. Who are
hmm,
you? First introduce
hmm,
yourself. At least
hmm,
at
hmm,
least show some basic interest in the person that I am. If I
hmm,
feel that I am a copy paste in your Excel sheet, and I can
hmm,
obviously figure that out, I am
hmm,
not going to give you my attention and time.
hmm,
I need to feel respected. I need to feel
hmm,
that you have given enough thought about me before writing it to me. So yes,
hmm.
that is the way to think about it.
So well. I mean, it's so nice that you said that because I personally, now that I'm on LinkedIn, I just started 4 months back, but I have been receiving such a lot of messages which feel like they're cut copy paste. So a person has probably created a draft and they've just gone and pasted the same thing without customizing their message or being relevant to when it's a mass message, right? So that is something I've been
Absolutely.
experiencing, and when I've probably not responded, the same message has been reposted and resent to you. So it's like your inbox from this one person has the same message, which is like that long, posted twice and thrice, which I refuse to believe that your chain of thought can flow exactly verbatim every single time. So that's
That's
funny.
right.
But Vivek, question. Do you, or rather, wait, before I get into that, what has been your most awkward networking interaction? Let's look at it online and offline. What has been your funniest or something where you're like, yeah, that happened?
Okay. One incident that happened was both awkward and both hilarious.
Hmm.
Was that I had to meet a professional acquaintance for a coffee, and we had to
Hmm.
discuss some ideas. And I think
Hmm.
we were meeting for the first time.
Hmm.
So we decided that we are going to meet in Ambience Mall.
Hmm.
And, then I was staying in Gurgaon. So I reached Ambience Mall.
Hmm.
I am there at the ground floor, and
Hmm.
I cannot find the person. I just
Hmm.
I'm like waiting, and it's above
They didn't show
past.
up.
So it's past 10 minutes. I usually give people time, but
Hmm.
it's past 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I call. So the
Hmm.
person at the other end said, "I'm waiting for you at the ground floor,"
Hmm.
and I'm like, "I'm
Hmm.
standing next to Starbucks," and
Hmm.
that person says, "There is no Starbucks here. I can't see the Starbucks."
Hmm.
And for 5 minutes, we keep finding each other only
Hmm.
to realize that I was in the ambience mall of Gurgaon and that person was
Hmm.
in the ambience mall of Vasant Kunj, which is in Delhi. So we
Hmm.
reached two different destinations
Hmm.
and we could not meet each other. And this was a
Hmm.
classic case of communication gap. You know,
Hmm.
I am coming from a vantage point that I stay in Gurgaon, so ambience mall Gurgaon. I didn't think about Delhi.
Hmm.
That person stays in
Hmm.
Delhi, so that person thought about Delhi, and he reached Delhi, and
Hmm.
we laughed so much about it. And then we said, okay, we are going to meet again, and I'm going to WhatsApp you the exact address, and then we'll catch up.
When you meet people, do you have like a elevator pitch that you use, and you come prepared, or at least with an outline of how you're going to introduce yourself, online or offline? Do you recommend having an elevator pitch?
Uh, I think there are a couple of ways to go about it. Uh,
Hmm.
we have to be authentic about ourselves. If we what
Hmm.
we are going to say to the other person sounds rehearsed,
Hmm.
then the other person is going to figure out in a second.
Hmm.
So and this builds up over a period of time. You
Hmm.
weave a story in your head over a period
Hmm.
of time that this is who you are, this is your identity, this is what you
Hmm.
have done.
Hmm.
So if so starting, you do not have the confidence. You are in college. I was in college. I did not have the confidence to go and talk to people and tell them who I am. Especially with
Hmm.
accomplished people who have done a lot, and I'm like underconfident. And what do I do? Then a good tip is that you need to understand who are you, what do you want,
Hmm.
what is interesting to you. What are the topics
Hmm.
that you can discuss about, what are the subjects that you are mastered of. If you are to touch on those subjects, then I'm the best person there.
Hmm.
So you think about these things, and when you go and talk to the other person, practice. See, I spoke to that person, this happened. And
Hmm.
go out and meet people, meet 100 people, for example, offline. Now obviously you
Hmm.
can go and meet people online, and then just be yourself and keep talking to people. And over a period of time, weeks, months, years, your identity, your confidence, and the way you speak and what you speak
Hmm.
is going to build upon. And it is a
Hmm.
process.
Of
So I would not
evolution.
really I would not recommend having an elevator pitch, because then your
Hmm.
mind will go and tell you to think about that piece of paper that you have written, which is not
Hmm.
the right way to think about it.
Hmm.
You need to have bullet points about who you
Hmm.
are. And
Hmm.
once you get the confidence, then I think you don't really need that, and you know who you are, and you can be spontaneous. And a little bit of humor obviously helps connecting to
Always,
people,
yes, is the deal.
because we are in such busy, serious lives that if you can bring a smile to somebody's face, he'll or she'll feel good about it.
Vivek, something. So I run business etiquette workshops, and very often the first thing we tell these corporate guys, when you walk into a networking event, and I don't know if you've heard of BNI, which is an offline network that is dedicated to networking. I am still new to
Right.
LinkedIn, so I'm learning the art of networking on LinkedIn. But when we talk to
Sure.
them about how to do it offline, one thing that we see these guys do very commonly is carry such a lot of business cards and then walk into an event and bato it like prashad, you know. Before you even say hi or make eye contact with the person, they'd go and approach with a card and say, whatever, okay, can I talk to you for 2 minutes? And it is the most I mean, especially the Japanese, if you do that, they look at it as a sign of disrespect that, you're handing over your card and you're not interested in, making a genuine impromptu conversation. So they look at it as derogatory and they don't engage with that person. So people with a lot of difficulty get that point, and I wish they saved paper the next time around. But okay, let's do it this way. What would be your top three tips to keep in mind whilst networking online?
Top three tips while I'm
Hmm.
networking online.
Hmm.
Okay, let me think. Uh, so we need to understand, what is the intent. Our intent
Hmm.
is that the work that we do, using that work, we are able to reach out to the right people. So
Hmm.
before we even reach out to the right people, we need to build an identity. So having the right LinkedIn profile and then engaging through your meaningful posts.
Hmm.
LinkedIn provides you the opportunity to become a writer
Hmm.
with about 1,300 words. You can write those words in a meaningful manner, in a powerful manner that helps reach out to people globally. you know
Hmm.
so if you write content that people like and adds value to people, do not worry about likes and comments and what people are going to think about you. But if you think you have put your authentic self into that, writing that post consistently, people are
Hmm.
going to find you. you know
Hmm.
and that is the best way of networking, when people go searching for you. When people
Hmm.
message you because of what you have written, because of what you are, and because of what you can give it to them. So that is the number
Hmm.
one rule of networking, that create your profile and engage in posts in such a manner that you are telling the world that I'm here and you can find me here.
Hmm.
The second rule of networking is empathy. I repeat that. Empathy, again, it is very, very important to respect the other person's time, the other person's position, and also respect if the other person is not responding to you. I
Hmm.
have recently seen a lot of people coming, on the platform and saying that, especially recruiters, saying that they could not respond to job seekers, and job seekers started abusing to them, that why aren't you
Hmm.
responding to me? It may not
Hmm.
be possible. If I'm a recruiter, I'm getting 100 messages every day. It is not
Hmm.
possible for me to. So, I am desperate because I'm looking for a job, but the other end of the person is being approached by so many people. So, empathy, understanding what that other person is going through, you know, and when you have empathy and you talk to the person, the person immediately gets a sense that this person understands me. And that is what human connection is about. We want to be understood. you know
Hmm.
we don't go out in the world telling that these are our problems. But if somebody magically comes and says, hey, you're having these problems, and I understand you, nothing like it, we would automatically go and attach to that person. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think, did I complete three tips there?
So I heard you say the first one being, no, I heard
The
empathy
profile.
and the
Yes.
profile. What
Right.
was the third?
Okay. The comment, the posts are included in the profile itself.
The
Okay,
article, writing your article and being
ra-
a writer. So people
yeah,
can hear your
yeah,
thoughts and being empathetic when you start and
yes,
having a strong profile. I get you.
right, that's right.
Um,
So we have three
Vivek,
points
when
there.
you started, and before how did you ask people for an endorsement or a recommendation?
Of all the recommendations that I have got, uh, I think, asked for just one, maybe.
Hmm.
The others I have not. So if you look at my profile, I have very less recommendations compared to what many people have.
Hmm.
I find it very difficult to go and tell people to write about me.
Hmm.
I because I earlier thought that if I'm really good, then people are going to
Hmm.
write about me.
Hmm.
So people have come and written about me, but once in a while I thought that I needed a recommendation at some time. So people I knew, people who knew me, I told them, please write something you think is meaningful, that you think I am worthy enough of writing. So people have
Hmm.
gone and done that.
Honored
But
that.
I think there's, pardon me.
Please go ahead.
So there's no harm going asking for recommendations, and ask people to authentically write, and you'll also come to know what people are writing about you, and that's
It's a reality check.
it's a reality check, because you get to read that before you actually allow it to be posted on LinkedIn. So if
Hmm.
somebody has written something that you do not want to show it on the profile, you can just keep it in the draft and not really allow it to be posted. Yeah.
Posted. Vivek, okay, before I get into the last segment, guys, I opened the session for questions. So, you have any questions, anything you want to ask Vivek about how to leverage LinkedIn? The time is now. Hit the comments box and let me know what you're thinking and what your questions are. Vivek, I know that platforms like Facebook have a limit to the number of connections you can have. So you can probably have, I think on Facebook, you can have 5,000 friends. And beyond that, you got to move to a page. So is there something like that on LinkedIn where there is a cap at the number of connections you can have?
So LinkedIn has a cap of about 30,000 connections,
Hmm,
which I think is huge.
huge.
Um, and it's huge. That does not mean that you should connect with anybody and everybody just to keep
Hmm,
your connection count high.
hmm,
Because most of the times, out of 30,000 connections, suppose you reach that limit, uh,
hmm,
even 300 connections, having meaningful relationship with those 300 connections is very, very difficult.
true.
So it is important. The quality of connections that you have is much more important than the count. And
The
if you do
rule of
not
life,
want,
I guess, with everything that you do,
absolutely,
when the minute you
absolutely,
get masked, I think you lose that charm.
absolutely. So if you're trying to grow, your social network, if you're trying to build your profile on LinkedIn, then you have an option that by default you can change the connect button to follow.
Hmm.
And so follow is what is seen on the screen, and connect is something the person has to really go inside and choose.
Search for it. Hmm.
So yeah, so I have changed my connect button to follow. So I get
Hmm.
a lot of people who are following, and people
Hmm.
who really want to connect with me, then they
Hmm.
send me a connect request, which I evaluate,
Hmm.
that if I want to connect with that person.
Also, I was wondering from my own innocence of trying to learn LinkedIn, Vivek, do you recommend sending a personal note with every connection that you try to make? And what is this logic behind the first, second, third degree connections? How does it work?
Okay, two things here. So first, answer to the first question. When you send a request to the other person, what does the other person see? The other person can
Hmm.
see only the profile, right?
Hmm.
Now, if the other person finds your profile really interesting,
Hmm.
and he thinks, assumes looking at your profile that it will add value to you,
Hmm.
only that person then is going to accept your invite.
Accepted. Hmm.
So there is, it's a chance, it's a probability,
Hmm.
that he may or she may not accept your request. However,
Hmm.
if you send a personalized note, then along with your profile, you're sending an intention of why are you reaching to that person.
Right.
uh, and please be specific when you send a message. And it is okay, you're reaching out for something, it is okay to reach out. People write to me all the time with messages like, hey, you have a you have a great profile, it
Hmm.
will be great to connect. Of course,
Hmm.
I understand it is great to connect and network,
But
but
why?
please, please, please add something more meaningful. You know, please
Hmm.
add something which I read and I get that, okay, you are really interested in connecting to me for maybe a specific purpose. Or
Hmm.
even if there is no purpose, write something interesting.
Hmm.
A good thing, maybe, oh, I attended your LinkedIn local and I found it very exciting, or something authentic, because I will
Hmm.
figure out if you're being authentic or not. So I think a personalized
Hmm.
note is very, very important,
Hmm.
because it makes the intention clear, and it
Hmm.
also, there is a basic sense of courtesy, that when you're sending
Hmm.
to somebody, that, okay, I am putting in the effort to reach out to you. And
Right.
so the chances of that getting accepted is much, much higher.
Hmm.
You'll have to repeat the second question.
A quick insight, because we're like 2 minutes away from closing our session today. What are your
Sure.
thoughts on that first, second, third degree connection? How does it work?
So first degree connections are the connections that you are connected to directly on LinkedIn. Second degree connections are the connections of your first degree connections.
Hmm.
So which is a very, very, very large number. So for
Hmm.
example, if you have 1,000 connections,
Hmm.
then each of those 1,000 connections cumulatively may have 1 lakh connections, right?
Hmm.
So 1,000 is your first degree connection, 1 lakh is your second degree connections. The third degree connections are the connections that is absolutely outside your network. So those
Hmm.
connections are neither your first degree connections or not connected to your first degree connections. So these are
Hmm.
third degree connections, and you will usually not stumble on those profiles. But if you do, you can connect, and that third degree can become your first degree connect, and the
And I
story
guess
can
that also
continue.
becomes like I think earlier you spoke about having something in common, and maybe mentioning that I noticed you know this person, because you can see who mutually knows that person. So I think it becomes like
That's
a
right.
conversation starter. That's nice. I would always wonder what is this first, second, third business, but thank you for clarifying that. Vivek, it brings me to my final question for today, which is, what is the single mind shift you would like every viewer to have?
The single mind shift that every viewer should have. I think uh, the one thing that I like to say is to have a growth mindset.
Hmm.
Uh, in anything that you do,
Hmm.
in any goal that you're trying to achieve, in any exam that you're going to want to pass, in any job that you want to get, in any relationship that you want to build, everything starts from here. uh, you have this wonderful show, you have this wonderful platform. The biggest enemy of the human mind is the human mind.
Hmm.
We talk ourselves into things so much that we don't realize that the power of thinking can really change things. So when we are trying
Hmm.
to do things, when we are trying to do networking, we assume that the other person will not talk to me. We assume
Hmm.
that we'll be portrayed in a certain manner. I
Hmm.
think we should keep that assumptions away. We should have a growth mindset, that I am learning. There will be mistakes, but I'm growing. And I will grow only when I commit mistakes. As long as I'm genuine, I'm authentic, I'm putting my purpose, effort, with my true self. It's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to grow, and it's okay to continue.
Wait, that's amazing, because my entire show is about the mindset shift and the level of belief that you need to have in yourself to enhance your life and business, which ultimately equates in self mastery. So, thank you so much for being with me and helping me do this. I am truly honored. Thank you for your time. And for all you guys who are watching, Vivek, who is the head of growth at LinkedIn Local India, only for MindShift, has been so generous to take up a bunch of applications who are looking for consulting, whether you're applying for a job, whether you have a startup and you're looking to scale your startup. If this is something that you want guidance and mentoring on, you got to reach out to Vivek. The email address is in the caption below. Use the referral code, which is MindShift with Avneet, and uh, you will have access to having Vivek's guidance and tips on how you could elevate your growth process, your sales and strategy if you're in, a startup venture. So once again, Vivek, thank you so much for being with me. This has been amazing, and I look forward to connecting with you beyond the online world and taking true, long lasting, authentic connections offline. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Avneet. It has been a pleasure, and you're doing an amazing work. And I think your audience is really growing, having the growth mindset. The messages that you put across this platform and the work that you're doing is amazing. And I'm really happy to be here today, and really glad that we did this.
Thank you, Vivek. I'm going to see you on the other side.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
Take care.